In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thanks for listening to the Android Experience podcast. This is a show where we keep you posted on what's new in the world of Google and Android and share our experiences with the platform. This is episode 9 on Thursday, October 29, 2015. I'm your host, Patrick Virgadamo, and I'm joined by my co-host, Todd Wright. What's up,
Hey,
Todd?
guys. How's everything going?
Pretty good. And Bill Stebbins.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back.
Woot, woot.
Woo.
So today we're going to talk about what's kind of going on in the Android experience within the Android platform, and I guess first start off talking about what's happening, talking about our game and app release and updates that are kind of coming out. First one, Titanfall is coming to Android in 2016. I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah, I really like Titanfall. I just wonder what kind of a game it's going to be. I mean,
I do have that kind of reservation and then how it interacts. This is the kind of game, though, I really think if they would have ever got Google Glass out of the way with the concept commercials they showed where like virtual reality type thing, this would be a awesome way to kind of do a game like this.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
So, Bill, did you ever end up playing Titanfall?
Only in the beta. It was just, and it was fun, but I got to where I didn't have time to play it, so I ended up not picking it up. And there was probably about a 6-month period of time where I didn't have time to play any games at all. So I was kind of just doing everything but having fun.
And of course, there's a certain somebody, I won't mention names, that kept forgetting to send you their copy so you could play it.
Well, it would have just sat on the shelf anyway, in their defense. But
that's kind of what it did anyway. So I guess it worked out about the same.
Yeah.
But the thing I really liked about the Titanfall game, I liked the way they did their co-op, where you're actually, instead of going against the computer, you actually had other players were actually working against you in the campaign mode when you're doing co-op. Kind of like, I used to love Gears of War where you could do the campaign, and so you were all against the computer, you get all your friends together. Well, with this, it's kind of like teams all the time, but you had human players trying to keep you from actually achieving your campaign goals, which kind of kept it interesting because it was more of a always evolving game.
Yeah, that was kind of cool, and having the human aspect of that kind of makes it more interesting because it's not just you against some AI.
Yeah. So I mean that was interesting. It was a way to kind of play both sides. So I mean it's kind of bad if you're a person who likes to sit sometimes and just play against a computer AI and doesn't want to interact with people and chat and stuff. So that was kind of a knock there, but it is nice that the game was a way for them not to have to develop an AI and get it become stale. So it'll be interesting, and I agree with you, Todd. It'll really be interesting to see how it translates over into Android.
Yeah.
I hope it's not like they did that Hitman Go game where it's like a chess game with Hitman characters.
Titanfall Tactics.
Yeah.
So our next one is YouTube Red has launched, and you want to take this one, Bill?
Yeah, so I've heard for probably the last 3 or 4 years people saying, I wish I could just pay for no ads in whatever Google product. So finally we have no ads in YouTube. Ad-free Play Music is included. For $10 a month, you're essentially getting YouTube without ads, Google Play Music, unlimited streaming. You're also getting the ability to save offline in YouTube, which is, for me, pretty huge. The nice thing is if you're an early Play Music subscriber that got in on the $7.99 deal, you get Red with that subscription, and they're going to keep that price.
What?
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome. I had that and let
Me
it go.
too. I have it.
I don't have it. I had it.
well, and so here's my little, I guess it's not a dilemma, but I don't use my main Google account for our Play Music or for any of the apps, because a long time ago, I think we talked about this on the simulcast that far back. I have a different account that the family uses for apps and stuff like that, and then for our Play Music so we can share it. And they've not released the Google Play Music Family Pack or whatever for like $15. So my YouTube Red is on my other account, which I have no subscriptions or anything. So I can watch YouTube, but I don't have anything to watch on that one. So I've got like probably, I don't know, they said later this year, so I guess 2 more months or less before I can actually start to enjoy it.
I'm curious, though, with the ads structure of that, how are they handling the content providers with their ads?
They're going to pay a portion of the monies. They're gonna distribute it based on views and stuff like that. So instead of people getting paid based on the ads that people watched or the ad impressions and all that stuff, they're just going to take that pool of YouTube Red people and then distribute the money accordingly.
So it'd be as though they actually got, based on their views, that people actually watch the ads and everything.
Pretty much. That's
Cool.
That's the way it's been explained, and there's been a lot of uproar with with different people, and they're trying to kind of stir the pot, saying they're getting screwed, and I don't think anybody really knows all the details yet.
What'll be interesting to see is if you see a return of people integrating commercials into their videos.
Yeah, I don't know how YouTube is going to handle that because I don't know. I haven't read all the terms.
Well, technically, your terms of service says you're not supposed to, but that doesn't mean people don't do it. Especially like your big names. A lot of times they'll do an intro that kind of recognizes sponsors and stuff, which are kind of an ad. And
I know, like Leo Laporte from Twit had said that they weren't sure how that was going to play in because they do their own ads within their podcasts, and but that's kind of a that's not the norm for YouTube. I don't think they're kind of a special case. There's a lot of other kind of independent podcasters that are doing stuff on YouTube that don't have a lot of sponsors, so this may be good news for them. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I like this idea too with no ads, because if you're doing certain things, used to you had to try to do a playlist. Like if there are certain videos you're listening to, like relax to or anything, and you had the freaking ads kicking in the middle of it, especially if it suddenly blared, because whatever, like if you're listening to like tutorial videos or stuff where you have it turned up so you can make sure you understand what they're saying, and then all of a sudden the ad kicks in, you about throw your headphones across the room.
All I ever see is the Amazon ad. I don't know what that says about me, but every ad is Amazon.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just wonder if it's for the content providers, if it'll be worth it to them as much as it would have been if they would have just keep running ads.
I wouldn't say I would hope that it may actually be more beneficial to them, because there's a lot of times if I see a video and it starts kicking ads, I may just skip to another video just so I don't have to deal with the ad. Even though I know as a person who does content myself, you want to support people that do that stuff. Sometimes you're busy and you have a reason you're looking at videos, either because you want to know what you want to buy, hint, hint, Bill, or you want to know about something, like when they start throwing out the iFixit videos and all that stuff where you really want to know how to fix an issue. I mean, this is kind of like your visual Google for going find how to take care of an issue.
Yeah, I think the problem I run into with ads is there's a 1 minute video I want to watch, and there's a 2 minute pre-roll ad.
Yep.
Man, the punishment doesn't fit the crime, so to speak.
Or they have the little pop-ups on the video while it's playing. Click here and go to our website, and click here to visit the sponsor and stuff, and you kind of got to look to even see the content.
Yeah, I mean, especially on mobile, where that can just be a horrible pain.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's good intentions. It's how Google and YouTube go with this.
I'll be using it a lot more on my TV now without all those ads and stuff, for sure.
But I am happy to know that with the Google Music thing, hell yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. If you're already paying for Play Music, this is just a bonus.
Yep.
I mean, it's not costing any more money. And, I mean, honestly, I bet YouTube probably gets more by rolling this all in versus including it as part of, a separate subscription.
Yeah.
But they're not making a lot on ad revenue.
Well, I think the big thing is if they can get people here, that lets them sell the stuff especially with music, because then they can use that to get better negotiations for them for the content, so that they can increase their profit margins there. So I mean, I think it makes sense. And if Google's whole thing is to get you to their stuff, so then they can put other stuff at you, it's fine. Even if they had like occasional ad pops up when you open the app or something, they're still going to get you there. And this, if nothing else, what you're watching lets them generate the ads they send to you when you're browsing on Google.
Well, one thing I was thinking about is, just about everybody watches YouTube, but not everybody uses, Google Play Music.
Correct.
So this might be a good way to kind of steer people away, maybe even away from, the Apple Music Store, or
especially if Apple carries through with their
Spotify.
idea of making it available on Android, you kill the market before it gets there.
Yeah, I mean, who would pay $10 a month for Spotify if you can take this, basically get the same content plus get no ads on YouTube?
Which includes watching the music videos for the music.
Right.
Yeah, I've found myself probably in the last year and a half, maybe a little longer, since Chromecast really became mainstream. I watch a ton of YouTube. I mean, lots more than I really expected that I would. And I have, my own subscriptions, and I get notifications when episodes go up. And I've really found that to be kind of my go-to place because I've got weird interests and kind of niche things that there's not really a TV show for, but there's 3 or 4 different YouTube videos about it every week or whatever.
I agree. And for me, my thing, even without the Chromecast, sometimes that's how I unwind at the end of the day. Just kind of watch some videos, see some things, and then it's kind of like Wikipedia. You click one thing, and then you start going down a rabbit hole and start watching. And I've learned all kind of things that I never probably would have even known about or been interested in if it wasn't for the fact that it just happened to come up as a suggested video while watching something on YouTube.
Yep.
Some of my best subscriptions now came up just because of that.
Agreed.
So another googly good thing. How many of you two guys use Google Keep?
Me.
I use it.
I've used it, but I think with this update, I may actually use it even more, because to me this was the kind of one thing I didn't really have, which is for our listeners, Google Keep, the update is going to be bringing the ability to doodle in your notes so that you can do handwritten stuff, which for me as a note user, that would be even better, even more awesome. But to me, sometimes when you're taking down notes and stuff, you might just want to jot down stuff or draw something, especially if you're a person who's doing maybe a home project or something. It's a great way to kind of jot down your measurements and things like that without typing out stuff and things of that sort.
Yeah, just when I thought about getting rid of my note for the new V10, this pops up.
I mean, this to me, this is a great little thing, and I could even see with doodling, you could probably work ways to integrate this with the Keep app for Android Wear, because on your touchscreen you could do a quick little doodle on the screen and save it.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I didn't think about that.
I mean, it opens up possibilities that you didn't have when you went with a normal interface. And I mean, now it becomes a great thing for kids, for students to take notes, because sometimes you need to draw out something that's in your notes. That's one thing I used to like about what the hell was it? The one in Office, the one that's the OneNote. That when it first came out, I liked it because I had one of those tablet PCs where you could write, and it was great because I could import everything in there and then do handwritten notes and handwritten charts and stuff. This will be a great free version to do for that for a student to take notes in.
Yep.
And with Google Doc Share and everything, you could have your whole team of people doing notes in class.
Yeah, and when we get that new tablet later this year, that's going to be.
Oh yeah. I didn't even think about that. That's even better.
Yeah.
And then I guess the last thing to kind of make the circle complete, and even going even more to while Google Play Music is a great deal, is that Google announced that they're going to make a big concerted effort to bring podcast into the mix for Google Play Music.
That'll be interesting to see how that works. I don't know that it's gonna. It'll probably introduce some people to podcasts that wouldn't have otherwise paid attention. But I don't know that the Play Music app is the best app for listening to podcasts.
Well, so a couple of things. Feature-wise, I doubt it would. I use Pocket Casts for all my podcasts.
Yeah, so do I.
And, there are some really good features like the, voice boost and that kind of stuff I doubt would be in this update. But the one thing that I heard someone mention that this would be really good for would be for discovery.
Correct.
Because you know how you have the discovery in Google Play Music, like with moods and that kind of stuff. They might have a section for like, you go to the podcast and you might have Android or iOS or science or news.
Well, the other thing is, because Google Play Music and now with YouTube Red, you can link them to the video versions of it, and I mean, it would be a great, like you said, a way to discover and then link you to stuff. It's not necessarily the player, but if you can go to one place and find all that stuff, it's the greatest thing you can do.
Yeah, you could link. I didn't think about linking the video that way.
Well, if you think about it,
that and people could see my beautiful face.
And your mic.
They'd get the whole experience.
But I mean, with Android, there's tons of ways they could pull this too, because since Android is huge about integration with other apps that you choose to use, who's to say there isn't a way where you could have an option to use a different player out of Google Play Music? It all depends on how Google ends up doing it. I think if nothing else, it's good that they're doing it, because it's another option out there for people, especially for like us, Android-centric podcasts. Do you really want to send people to iTunes?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a
and
great
like
way.
Bill said, the introducing new people, I think that'll be a key factor for this too. I mean,
it makes it more accessible. It's more accessible for the average person. So yeah, for discovering everything, it can only be a good thing.
Right.
Agreed.
Okay, so moving to our top stories, I think getting to the meat of our whole show, both of you guys got 5Xs, correct?
That is correct.
And I know Bill has a nice little surprise that came in, what was it, yesterday?
Yeah, I think it was it Wednesday? Yeah.
Yes,
I got the 6P.
He got the 6Ps
And if you
with the bigger GBs.
The graphite. I got 64 gigabyte. And,
that's the one I ordered and canceled.
Well,
you got my phone. You want it back.
Shame on you.
So I figure this great opportunity for you guys to maybe talk about what you like about the 5X, and you, Bill, can kind of compare and contrast what you like more about the 6P, because with the order times being so far back, there's probably a lot of people who are still trying to decide what they want. And I figure it's a great opportunity for you guys to maybe talk about y'all's experiences.
Showing you the phone.
Yeah, I don't know where to start on the 5X. I mean, I guess one of the biggest things for me is the size is just about perfect. I've always thought, 5 or just over 5 is just about the sweet spot for screen size. And I believe this gets there.
I agree with that.
Of course, one advantage I see to this phone, of course, the 6P has it as well, is that fingerprint sensor. That thing is just lightning fast. It's every bit as at least as fast as my 6S Plus.
And it works really well then.
Oh, it's flawless. I mean, it's just.
Bam.
We did that in tandem.
That was awesome. Great minds think alike.
Powers activate.
form of a 6P.
Now, the one thing I'm kind of curious about, and I'd like to hear your opinion, Bill, is how has your battery life been on the 5X?
Well, let me answer that with a caveat that I've been having issues with my 5X.
Okay.
I think they're hardware issues from the start. So it doesn't charge very quickly at all, like not at all like anybody else's that I know. And I've been having some camera issues, so there's something hardware related going on with mine. So the battery life, I was getting an hour and a half to 2 hours of screen on, and about 10 hours of use, or 10 hours off the charger. So it wasn't spectacular, to be honest, but I don't think that my experience was representative of the device itself.
Yeah, mine's not been bad. It's not as good as some of my other phones. Of course, I usually have big phablet devices with larger batteries, so it's not going to be better.
Yeah.
It's a lot better. I had an original Nexus 5, and it's definitely a lot better with that than that. I think the AppNap, or whatever they're calling it, is really helping.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing that on the 6P and even on the Nexus 6 that, the doze feature works spectacularly well. So if you're not touching the device, then it goes, puts everything basically to sleep, and the battery doesn't drop hardly at all. It's just when you start using it, I mean, especially on the 5X with that IPS screen, even though it's 1080, it seems to kind of go through battery pretty quick if you've got the screen on. At least that was my experience. But what did you think about the camera on it?
I like the camera on it. I mean, I think it's great. It's comparable, I think, to the iPhone. I think maybe somebody said the 6P was rated a little bit better, but I don't know why. I mean, basically it's the same sensor. There might be some issues with, the 6P might be a little snappier as far as the interface and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed the camera launches a lot quicker on the 6P, and then the HDR, if it kicks in, then it processes a lot quicker. On my 5X, it would take, if you use the double tap on the power button, it would take 10 seconds before the camera was ready for me to take a picture on the 5X. So something's not quite right there, but the only thing really different on the 6P is it has more processing power, so you get the 240 frames per second on the video, and you can do burst mode.
So Bill, having used both, would you say that the 6P is a big enough upgrade to justify the difference in price for someone who's maybe just wants one or the other?
If you don't have a preference as far as the size goes, or if you want top shelf specs, then the 6P is absolutely the phone to get. I mean, I didn't have any problems with the 5X build quality, but it definitely doesn't feel like a $600 device. The 6P definitely feels like a very expensive device. I mean, when you pick it up, it's just got a good enough weight to it, like, and it's solid, and it's got a good balance to it, and it just, when you pick it up, I don't know, there's something about metal when you pick it up that it just feels really like, wow, like you're picking up a piece of jewelry or something. So I have the graphite one, and I got the graphite mainly because that visor, I didn't want that to really be noticeable. I kind of wish I'd have gone with the frost now, just to be a little different, but apparently they're having issues getting those even shipped, so kind of glad I at least have one. So
Bill, how would you say, since you use both, how would you say those kind of rate next to your 6?
The 6P feels like if and this is probably what happened, Google said, all right, we like the Nexus 6, but let's make a premium version of that that's actually something not gaudy, that's not overly monstrous in the hand. And really all they did was they made it a little taller, just by a hair, but then they made it thinner, and it's like 30% thinner, which I would rather have some battery life, additional battery life, but whatever. But then they made it narrower, and that's the big thing. This is just a hair bigger than the 5X, so when you're holding it in your hand, I have fairly big hands, and the 6 was about as much as I was able to kind of carry around with one hand. But then it made it awkward trying to swipe my thumb.
You don't have a Note 5, do you, Bill?
I had one at one point, but no.
Okay. Because from one thing I really like about the 6P is it's supposed to have the same panel as the Note 5.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
So, and I know that panel is, that's one of the best things about the Note 5 is the screen is just absolutely beautiful. So I'm guessing that 6P2 size-wise is probably made around that screen. So that is a good form factor for a larger phone. Being just a little bit narrow. Because the one thing I didn't like about my 6 was the fact that it was just so fat.
Yeah, I mean it's a chunky phone. It did, kind of make me. I used it more and I didn't have to go to the tablet, so I like that aspect of it.
Right.
One of the best things about and people love or hate AMOLED screens. I love them.
I do too.
Compared to the IPS screen on the 5X, I like the colors on the 6P a lot better. The 5X looks a little muted, and that's just the nature of LCD versus AMOLED. But the QHD screen is beautiful on this thing, and it doesn't get quite as bright as I would like, but I'm not having any trouble seeing it outdoors or anything like that. So that seems to be okay, and I don't think you can go wrong with either of them. But I heard a lot of blogs throwing out price comparisons, and if you really compare apples and apples, so look at the 32 gig Nexus 5X versus the 32 gig 6P, you're only talking a difference of $70. So $70 for something you're going to have, for 24 months or however long people keep these things isn't a huge price differential. And if you like big phones or you're comfortable with them, the 6P is probably the way to go in 80% of the cases. Some people just want something really light that they can carry around and not worry about. That'll be the 5X.
So Bill, on your phones, have you tried On the Go yet?
No, I haven't.
So I'm curious to see how that plays on these new ones. I know, was it you or it was? I knew it was you or Jeff had talked about ordering the adapter.
I think Jeff may have. I mean, I have an adapter that I could actually. I'm trying to think if I could hook it up that way.
So explain the On the Go. Is that the charging?
No, that's the USB On the Go. That's the thing where you can hook USB devices.
Right.
Yeah. Now, one of the neat things with both the 6P and the 5X, because they're USB Type-C, is they will actually charge another device with the USB-C to USB-C.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. What I thought you were talking about. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like the OTG. You're talking about like OTG or?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's going to be some growing pains with these new phones. USB-C is great for a lot of stuff. It kind of sucks to have to buy new chargers and cables and whatnot. I picked up some cables from OnePlus. They have some USB-A, which is regular USB, to C, and they're like $6 or something. The chargers are kind of weird because the the Quick Charge 2.0 chargers don't charge at the fastest rate. So
to preserve the battery, I'm assuming.
Well, it's just a different protocol or whatever, and so which is weird because the device has a quick charge chip or whatever in it. It's just not active. So who knows what the deal is there? They're using USB-C charging, which is 3 amp, 5 volt.
Right. So the USB-C, they'll allow them to do the fast charging, but you have to have that special type of charge, like you said, 3 amp. I can't remember what the other ampage.
Yeah, 5 volt, 3 amp.
Yeah. And plus, if they don't activate the Qualcomm fast charging, that's a license fee that they get to save. They don't have to pay that out.
Yeah.
So that's probably some of the decisions.
So I picked up this Tron Smart. It's a Quick Charge 2.0, but it's got a USB C cable attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
It charges pretty quick. It's 5 volts at 2.4 amps, so it's not the quickest. But I needed a car charger, so that's what I'm using for now. Hopefully, I know Aukey and a couple other places are coming out with some new stuff. But I literally just finished outfitting all of our cars with Quick Charge 2.0.
Awesome.
So it's like, oh. But USB-C is so much more convenient, to be honest.
I guess the reason I'm interested to see how the USB on the go plays, one, that gets rid of the usual nag. Oh, it's a Nexus device. It doesn't have a micro SD card. Well, who cares? If you use USB on the go, you can read and write to a thumb drive.
I've never really had an issue with storage.
Well, I mean, now with the bigger options, you really shouldn't.
Yeah, and I just bought a 32 gig thumb drive that had micro USB on one end of it. So that's kind of
all those kind of game.
Well, you can get an adapter. I mean, I have a micro USB to USB-C adapter. That should still be okay.
Yeah, I still have to buy one of those.
The other thing I'm interested in, though, is with the USB on the go, depending on how well it works with the USB-C, it'll be interesting to see, given the MacBook market, how they're starting to develop a lot of USB-C docks to provide the access for the other things, how those would play well, if they play well at all, if you plugged them into USB-C on your Nexus.
That'd be interesting.
For connectivity issues, like things that you might otherwise not be able to connect. It might be interesting to see how they play. And with Android being open, all somebody has to do is write an app.
Yeah. I mean, in theory, you should be able to run a portable hard drive off this thing because it's USB-C. But I haven't gotten a chance to play with any of that yet.
Yeah, I'd never even thought about really doing it for reading and writing purposes. And then my stepdad, I've been trying to convince him to get a new phone. He still has an old Galaxy S3, but it was one of the first ones that did the USB on the go. Hooked up a thumb drive the other day. He was trying to copy his music to a thumb drive so he could listen to it in his truck. Plugged the thumb drive in, copied it right off the phone onto it. Go, here you go.
Wow.
He's like, what? I was like, yeah, you can copy and paste, cut, whatever you want to do.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting over the next several months to see what kind of accessories come out for these things. And I mean, the fact that you'd be able to charge one device for another is kind of interesting. And I could see this being a cool use case, like if I'm out and say I've got my Jaybird Blue Buds and they go dead, plug those into my phone.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Charge them up. That would be kind of sweet.
Yeah.
Just don't try to charge it up wirelessly.
Yeah.
That's the one disadvantage for the new Nexus phones.
Yeah.
Although I have a feeling as C becomes more ubiquitous, you'll start seeing the little adapters in the cases to be able to add it aftermarket. I mean, you already see those now with. They even have. You can even find them. I saw the other day they were selling them for iPhones.
Right.
It had a lightning connector went in, a little cable sticks to a Qi charger, stick it behind the thing in the case, and boom, you got wireless charging.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna miss it a ton on this new one, just because USB-C I can plug in easily in the dark.
Yeah.
And that was my biggest complaint before.
Yeah, that is nice. The one advantage I like for wireless charging for me is at the office, and that's pretty much the only way.
Pick up and sit it back down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you sit down at your desk and you lay your phone down. I just lay it right on the charger and it pops it off a little bit.
Well, I also liked it too. Like if I have to go to a meeting or something, it's easy to grab. I don't have to worry about. Well, let me unplug it and then plug it back in and all that. Because mine sits on a dock right now because I use to get a better signal in our office. I have one of those Wilson Electronics little Verizon docks, and so I go from 3G connection to a couple of bars of 4G just by sitting it in there and having an antenna in my window.
Yeah, I mean, battery life shouldn't be a concern really on the 6P. I'm at about 3 hours of screen on, and I've been off the charger for about 13 hours, and I still have about 25% left.
Nice.
So I mean that's for my use, that's plenty fine, and you know that does just it'll sit here the rest of the night if I'm not using it. So it's not really a huge concern.
I'm close to 3 hours of screen on time right now. I pulled mine off today, and it's at 57%.
Not bad. So Bill, how well has yours played? I know you have an older generation Android Wear. How has yours handled well with the new Nexus?
You know, and this may just be in my imagination, but my Moto X or my Moto 360 with the 5X over the last week, the battery life was actually much improved. I was coming home with about 60% left in the thing.
Nice.
Whereas before it would be down in the 30s. I don't know if that's coincidence or not. I just paired it with the 6P last night, so I came home with 60% again today. I don't know if that's going to be par for the course or not.
Probably depends on what you get notification-wise, I guess.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about picking up the new 360 version 2.
Todd can tell you all about it.
Yeah, I finally swapped out for the 46, and it's sweet.
Yeah, that's the one I'm looking at. And I want to order one because I want the knurled bezel. But funny story, you know how they've been running that deal on eBay for the Nexus 6 for like $289 or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Some guy bought mine off Craigslist yesterday for $350.
Were you channeling your inner Dave Valley?
I was. I tweeted at Dave yesterday.
I don't know how you did that.
So I was like, yes. So that kind of worked out. I was pretty bummed when they dropped the price on that Nexus 6 just because it killed resale on them.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, I guess my question, having used the 5X, if someone were looking at paying a little more for a new 5X or getting a deal on a 6, and then they weren't issued about the screen size, what would you tell them?
See, that's a tough one.
That is a tough one.
The 5X
That's why I ask.
camera for sure. It has a better processor, but something about that 6, man, it's just buttery smooth.
Mm-hmm.
The screen's still nice on it. When you put the screen up next to the 6P, it definitely looked a little yellowish and not as good. But I used that thing from November 17th of last year until I sold it, or until I got the 5X, however long ago, last week. So I mean, for somebody like me to use the same device pretty much the whole year.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Crazy. So I actually recommended the 6 to a friend of mine on that deal a few weeks ago, and he got one. And I think he really is enjoying it. So it's not a bad phone, and if you got $300 to spend, that's probably the one to go with.
Yeah, I guess for me, I'm thinking because my mom and I have been trying to convince my stepdad to get a new phone, whether I'd get him a 6 or get him to go with a 5X. And I may end up doing the 5X just because he likes the smaller size. That's one thing. We tried to convince him to get a Note, and he didn't want to go that big.
Yeah, I mean, the 6 is big. It's definitely big. But if you're okay with that, it's a great device, and you can get away with not having a tablet easily.
Yeah. I mean, and right now they actually have both my Nexus 7 and my Nexus 9, and they love it to death. So that's why I figured if I can get him to go to a Nexus phone, I think he'd enjoy it more than his old Samsung.
Yeah. He'd be like, "What? Where's TouchWiz? Can you put TouchWiz on here, Patrick?"
Well, I think the fingerprint thing would be really good for as another reason to pay the little extra for the 5X.
Yeah.
Because if you're a person who has to unlock your screen all the time, that's a great way not to have to do it.
Todd, did you find it weird using Smart Lock with having the fingerprint sensor? And by that I mean, I kind of wanted to have to use the fingerprint sensor to unlock, so I was tempted to turn Smart Lock off.
I had those thoughts in my head a couple of times because I'm like, but the cool thing is, even if you have Smart Lock on, you can still use the fingerprint sensor to wake the screen up.
Yeah.
So
That's true. But like in the car, I could see, having my Bluetooth in the car, unlocking it when I'm just, at the office or whatever. Like, maybe Android Wear doesn't need to be my Smart Lock for that. I don't know. It was a weird kind of use case because I'm trying to figure out, I used to never lock my phone, and now I have it locked pretty much all the time, except when, Android Wear or one of my other things is connected. And the fingerprint sensor has made it so simple to get into the phone that it's not such a big deal to be hassled with it anymore.
Yeah, I think that's one thing I'm interested in, just because for work, since I get paid to put work email on my phone, we have to have a screen lock. So for me, that would be nice to be able to have that access, because I know all the iPhone people that they loved it when they added that, because they let them use that to open their phones.
Yeah, we use Good, Todd. I think you do too, and I haven't installed it on the new one yet to see if it works with the fingerprint sensor or not.
I've still got access to Good, but we've kind of started switching over to AirWatch. So.
Yeah, we're using Notes IBM Traveler.
Oh God.
is that
Sorry.
Lotus Notes?
Huh?
Is that Lotus Notes?
God.
Yes.
Oh my God, no.
It's IBM now.
Run it with fire.
Wow.
Put it this way, I think, what was it, 2 years ago, we finally went to Windows 7. They were still using XP.
Just moved to that.
I mean, although they're talking about, like, they're like, we might go ahead and just switch to 10. I'm like, well, wait, hold up. You took all this time to switch from XP to 7, and you're saying we're going to go to 10 now?
Hilarious.
I mean, we were still using Office 03 until about 2 years ago. We got the new version. We got 10 when we went to 7.
Yeah, companies don't like to change, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, when you see the news about, what is it, the Navy, who spends millions of dollars every year for Windows to provide continued support for XP because they don't want to convert their stuff. And we wonder why we have hacking problems.
No kidding.
So I guess, go ahead.
Nothing. I was going to, if we didn't have any more discussion, I was going to say, talking about hacking, it's like the Library of Congress adopts some broad rules authorizing rooting and jailbreaking of devices.
Yes, this was, and we had actually talked about this about a year ago. I think, Bill, it was you and I on Simulcast. The Library of Congress, which is kind of interesting that a bunch of librarians get authority to decide what is legal and not for this type of stuff, but they get to decide what is considered violations of the Millennium Digital Copyright Act stuff. And so about a year ago, they changed the rules and suddenly said, no, you can't jailbreak your phones and things like that. That's a DCMA violation, and so you can basically be sued technically if you go out and do this. This was that stuff. GeoHots and stuff. They were like, no, this is now illegal. And people were like, are you kidding me? And so one of the other things that kind of got caught up in their rule change last year was for people who went in and sim-locked their device because their carrier refused to do it. Case in point, Sprint. But what they've done now is they've adopted some really broad rules that basically say you can go in and hack to get access to add programs and stuff that you couldn't otherwise access on your phones, your tablets, your car. Now, they did still put in some limitations. You can't go in and get rid of the digital copyright stuff for like videos and stuff to play or back them up. That's still protected and would be a violation. And you can't go in for game systems. So consoles and stuff are still protected, but they pretty much opened the ground and said now if your carrier doesn't want to support it, you can go in and get access and support stuff that your carrier otherwise doesn't want to let you support on your devices.
But there's a bunch of happy Tesla owners too, because now they get to.
I think they kind of got to the absurdity of if this is a violation, if you buy something, you shouldn't be pigeonholed. I'm still surprised consoles, but I think that's kind of the same thing for the copyright stuff. It wasn't so much to access stuff in your console, it's because people were using hacked and not legit versions of games. So the primary reason for hacking a console is still for illegal activity. So that's why I don't think they were willing to allow that yet, because of ROMs and everything.
Right.
Shame on
those people.
At least they're making progress and they're coming out of like the 20th century. But
yeah.
So I mean, hooray! If you're SIM locked like AT&T, you now can go in and unlock your phone through whatever means you want. I'm sure AT&T's not happy.
They'll get over it.
They don't have much choice.
Yeah. They'll just throttle you, no problem.
GeoHots makes a comeback.
What happened to GeoHot?
I think someone hired him, if I remember correctly.
He got like Facebook for a week or something.
What's interesting, though, is it's kind of funny that now it's okay to jailbreak when iOS 9.1 supposedly kind of killed that for now. So there's some irony there.
I may be just getting old, but with every update that I get, there's less and less reasons for me to root. I'm not running ROMs anymore. I didn't root the 5X. I'm not probably going to root my 6P. I mean, there's some other reasons too. I can't use my work email on it if I root it, which I understand. So
I believe there's an eFuse on these phones too.
What I'm about to say, Bill, and since you're not dealing with grandfather stuff anymore, you're allowed to tether without any issues, so there's no reason for that.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, the ad block is the only reason I would root for that. And I don't know, I don't go on the mobile web that much anymore. I'm using an app, and I've got so much Google Play credit, I'd rather just pay the people and buy out the ads or whatever.
You just got $100 worth the other day, huh?
Yeah, and the best part of that is you can use it for YouTube Red. So I just loaded it on my account, and over the next however long, I've got like $150 worth of Google Play credit on one of my accounts. It's crazy.
I'm sure your kids can help you spend that.
Yeah. They probably can. I mean, once the family thing kicks in, it'll be like $15 a month, so I'll share it with my 2 kids, my wife, and then my other account. And you can have up to 6?
Yeah, I think so.
And then maybe my niece or somebody. So we'll get our money's worth out of that, and it'll just deduct from the
credit.
From the credit, and hey, what do you want for Christmas? Google Play credit cards, please.
Yep. I need to feed the need.
Yep. I'll just load them on there.
Well, I mean, other than that, it's been a pretty slow news month, I guess, as people are waiting for this to come out for Android. And I'm sure as more people finally get a hold of their 6Ps and things of that sort, and we start having third-party developer stuff making accessories and things, there'll be more to talk about. So with that, I guess kind of looking at our +1 and -1 picks from the panel, Bill, what's your pick for this month?
Yeah, Bill.
Yeah.
Or picks.
I have a couple. I'm going to pull a Jeff this week. So the first one is the Bug Droid case from Cruiserlight, and this is for the 5X. I don't know if you can see that. It's the smoke case, and it's called Bug Droid. So it's kind of got the Android with the looks like some circuit boards or whatever. The thing I like about this is it's a molded case that's like a TPU, but the way they do it, it's frosted kind of, and it's real grippy, and it's super thin. So on the back, it's, I don't know, maybe a millimeter or 2 thick. It's not thick at all. The sides are a little bit more protection, but then the way they do the cutouts for the buttons, at least on the 5X, it's super thin there, and it's cut out, so I don't know if it shows up on camera, but it's not thick at all around the buttons, so it's much easier to press them. The only miss on this case, and they've already fixed it, is, I don't know if you can see on the bottom, but I had to actually put my own hole in there because there's a microphone on the bottom of the 5X. And the first day I had the thing, people couldn't hear me on phone calls.
Same thing, Bill.
So come to find out, there's a microphone hole that's covered.
You're holding it wrong, Bill.
Yeah, it's totally my fault. But so as I said, my 5X is going back, so I have a case now and they were supposed to be sending me a new case that's already been revised. I did email him today and say, hey, can I switch that to a 6P case? Waiting to hear back from them. But overall, it's a nice case. It's like $10 on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
So
Nice.
definitely worth it. They got a bunch of different colors, and totally makes the phone something. Yeah, like he's got the green one. Totally makes the phone something that you don't mind carrying around. You get it out of your pocket, even when it's cold out, and you don't have to worry about it dropping or anything like that. So yeah, that's a great one. Then of course, if you've ever listened to me on another podcast, you know I'm a big Halo fan, and Halo 5 was released on Tuesday. So I've been playing that as much as I have time to play. I know Jeff's been playing it. We're all going to try and get together and play. Patrick's going to get a copy
Yes.
of Halo 5.
We'll have to play some. Do they still have the rocket buggies?
I have no idea.
Because if that's the case, and you and I and Jeff have to do that.
Yeah, I played Arena and I played Warzone. And so far, I haven't played any custom games, so I don't know what's out there. But they use these rec packs, which are kind of like loadouts or whatever in Call of Duty. And it's different, but it's kind of cool. So you earn rewards throughout the game, the multiplayer games and stuff. I haven't played but about an hour of the campaign, and I've just been playing that as a single player. I need to really do some co-op on that one, and so we'll see. But those are my.
I may go pick it up this either tomorrow or Saturday. So Sunday we'll have to play.
Yeah, I saw some digital codes out there for like I think one of them was for Amazon, like $55 or something. I ended up buying the digital version. But I'm probably going to have to buy another console because my kids want to play. It doesn't have split screen.
I have resisted consoles so far, but every time I go to Best Buy, I keep walking by the console section, looking at the Xbox and the PlayStation.
I love my one.
They have a bundle at Walmart, I think, for $350, and you get I think you get Halo 5 with it. I'm looking at the new Xbox One Elite bundle, which is their new the updated console with like a 1 terabyte hybrid drive.
Oh yeah.
And then it comes with the Elite controller, which by itself
nice.
is $150. Jeff posted a great video unboxing, and they're sold out everywhere. So I can't even get one, which kind of hurts my feelings because I had one on pre-order from Amazon and then canceled it when I bought my phones, and now I've got a killer deal on selling the other Nexus and sending this one back. So I've got the money to spend on it, and I can't buy it anywhere.
I may keep an eye out. That may be if I end up doing something like that, then I may give my nieces and them my one. That may solve a lot of problems.
Yeah. So that's my 2 picks, and that's kind of it's been a good week for technology geeks like me who like gaming and Nexus.
Nice. What about you, Todd?
Well, since Bill stole my pick with the case, I'm going with the 2nd gen Chromecast. It was totally impulse buy, just like the first Chromecast I had. I mean, for $35, you can't beat it. I like it because it's, the size is pretty compact. The HDMI adapter that's on it, is on a cable, and it's magnetically attached, so it won't, flop around everywhere. And it would make it easy to plug into about any set, even if you're on the go. You don't have to worry carrying some type of extension, HDMI extension on it.
Like for hotel and stuff, yeah.
And streaming on it is so much better with now that it'll do the, the 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi.
Nice. I thought about picking up one. I actually went and checked out the local Targets around here because I don't know if you guys saw. It might have been you, Bill. Someone had posted on Twitter. One of the things apparently is some of the local Targets, they were getting rid of all their Nexus players stock, and so some people were actually finding them on clearance for like $24.
Wow.
I don't think I posted it, but
maybe did you retweet it? Maybe
I may have. I've gotten burned on Android TV or whatever the last Google TV. So I'm kind of like I'm not buying another streaming box from Google. But
only reason I looked at it and none of them were still in stock here, just because it basically is a Chromecast, but then it had the extra stuff where you could hack it and with Kodi and stuff like that. So it would have been an interesting little play toy for $24.
Yep.
So my pick is something I kind of mentioned that I'd gotten last month when we did our show, but I hadn't had a chance to really use it. I finally got in the coin, well, I guess it's not really the best because plastic, but it's not out yet. For credit cards, if you want one where you can basically use one credit card and consolidate all your cards. To me, I actually like it because a lot of places you go still don't have NFC payments, so you can't use your phone. And I like the fact that I actually made a concerted effort to sit there and use it on a trip when I went back home a couple weeks ago. And it worked at every place except one. I went to Taco Bell when I got back to Baton Rouge, and I don't know if that's the lady who didn't know how to swipe it right, but it was the only place it did not work. I used it for gas. I used it at several different convenience stores along the way, at restaurants, and it worked perfectly for my credit cards. And I actually tried using different cards that I have on it, and the one they sent me was the updated one. The newest version actually has it supports NFC payments. So if your cards support NFC payments, the coin can actually do the NFC payments for you as well.
It's really cool.
It works really well, and it's kind of great. Like if I want to go light, it's just one card. So like if I'm going out or something, I can take it plus my phone and my driver's license, and I'm good.
Anybody looked at you weird when you used it?
I had one person goes, "What is this?" And then I show it, and they're like, "Oh my god, that's so cool." Of course, the geek in me working at an audit shop recognizes instantly how someone could use it to fraud their company. Because if you get a hold of the company card, you swipe it into your thing, and then you give them the card back, and you still have the card. So I go, wow, I didn't think about that. I'm like, yep.
Huh.
Any listeners out there, don't do that. Prison's bad.
Yeah, don't do bad things.
Prison's bad. So with that, I guess let everybody know how you can reach us.
You can find me on Twitter at Bill Stebbins or BillStebbins.com for all my other social media stuff. And I've actually posted a couple of tech videos on YouTube recently, so
I did very good on them.
Yes. I always go watch when I get a thing. Ooh, Bill Stebbins made a new video. Click.
Yeah. Hey, look, his kid's jumping on trampolines.
I still I'm waiting for you. I'm guessing at some point you're going to update your screen, because it seems like every so often you make you a new screen for your, or have you gotten to the max size you can support?
It's as big as it can be. I need to do an update video on my home theater, because I get a lot of people that watch that screen video and they're like, well, it's too big for the room and blah, blah, blah. Well, they don't see all the other stuff that I built around it.
Yeah.
How's the speakers and that. So I need to make another video just kind of showing some of that. I just haven't had time. But now that we're kind of getting into winter or fall and it's going to be crappy out when I get home from work, maybe I'll start filming a little bit and get one of those mixed up.
I actually had a couple of people at work. One of them was talking about, I want to get a projector and do a thing. I was like, I tell you what, go to YouTube, look up Bill Stebbins, and you can watch exactly how he made it from scratch and how he set it up. So
there you go.
I've been sending people your way.
Thanks for their 0.15 cent contribution.
Their patronage.
Yes.
So Todd, what about you?
Best way to reach me is on Twitter at Todd W.
And for me, Twitter is also the best. LSU Law 2009 is the handle. And, of course, you can find all of us here monthly on your Android Experience podcast. And so, in closing, you can find us by simply searching for Android Experience or Tech Side in your podcast client of choice, soon to be Google Play Music. Or you can subscribe to the show in iTunes. Hopefully, you won't worry about that soon. Please take time to leave us a review and comment. Alternatively, we have another link for our non-iTunes listeners, which you can find in our show notes. We also have a Patreon page. This gives our dedicated and loyal listeners an opportunity to support the podcast for as little as $1 a month. If you'd like to support us, visit our support page at patreon.com/techside. Leave us a comment on Twitter at AXP Podcast. And, of course, join us every month for our show. Later, guys.
Peace out.
Peace.